What is going on, my people? Niner faithful in the building. Guess what? I was live 15 minutes ago, but we're back. And this time, I actually have a guest. I promised you a guest last time. I didn't deliver because my friend that was supposed to come on had a migraine, but Bash doesn't have a migraine. Tonight, Prediction Friday, as we always do at this time of the night. I'm hyped. You're hyped. Friday night. Let's get right. And guess what? Sunday, we got a battle against the Eagles. And we are here with my boy Bash from 49er Minded. How we doing, Bash?
Doing great. I hate to say it about your friend who's an Eagle fan, but he's going to have another migraine on Sunday, just saying.
That's what I told him. I said, boy, you about to have a massive headache after that game. He says, well, maybe you will. I said, I said, at the end of the day, one of us is going to have a headache. So real quick, shout out to the chat. What's up, everybody? Yeah, y'all didn't get tired of me already. So appreciate you guys for hopping in and being here. Make sure you hit that like button and make sure you watch this channel on Bash's channel because we're doing a collab show. You know, every bit helps. Make sure you hit the like button on my page, jump on his page, hit that like button, smash, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're here to give you content together because we love you and we want to talk about these grimy Eagles. What do you think, man? We've been talking all week about the Eagles. What do you think, man? How are we feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. This Eagles team, sure, they're all braggadocious and they're all hype and they try to act like they're the tough team in town. And sure, that 8-1 record does speak for itself. I mean, you are as good as your record, but I'm just saying for an 8-1 team, I mean, who has this team really blown out? It's always these close games down to the wire. They give up a fair amount of points too. I mean, I'm feeling good about going into this game. I know we're going to a hostile environment. I know those punk Philly fans might be throwing beer cans at our fans, but it's all good, man. We're going to be coming prepared. I'm ready, man. I'm ready for this.
I am so ready. And you're right. Those Philly fans are going to be throwing beer bottles. Yo, those Philly fans are despicable. I've heard so many nasty stories since last year. We talked about Fred Warner's wife, right? How she got just all the hate and people were nasty towards her. You know, and she's a player's wife, right? So they didn't discriminate. They hate on players' wives, families, no matter who you are. Those Philly fans are just a different breed, man. Hostile environment on Sunday. And the 49ers, you know what? This is a big game because if they can win this game, they're chipping away at that Eagles, lead in the NFC. And to me, the most important part of the season is hopefully they can get that number one seed because it's going to be a lot easier to win in the playoffs if you're at home. I mean, the 49ers can still win on the road, but it's easier. We've seen them over the last couple of years get all the way to the NFC Championship game, and then they falter because they don't have the home cooking, man, and traveling takes a big toll on you. So do you think, Bash, that the 49ers are capable of walking into the link, hostile environment, and coming away with the win on Sunday? What do you think? And what do they have to do to win that game?
I think it's highly possible. Obviously, we have to get CMC involved. Would it hurt to get Mitchell involved? Mitchell looked pretty good last week and the week before, right? Looks like he's had a little bit of a small, little tiny resurgence. But I think the main focus, I've been mentioning this week after week, but this is the main week that I'm going to stress it even more because Kittle has been he's been looking pretty good these past few weeks, finding his way back in the end zone. I mentioned it in previous weeks, like, we got to get him going because these teams don't guard tight ends well. Well, Kittle right now is third amongst NFL tight ends in yardage. And lo and behold, Philadelphia they're last in the league in giving up a passer rating of 125 versus NFL tight ends. They're last in the league. So they don't have impressive linebackers. I was trying to study up their linebackers today. No offense to Philly fans, but I literally forgot the names of the linebackers because that's literally, they're very weak at that department.
Yeah, linebackers are very, very weak in terms of Philly defense. Like, if you want to talk about it, Philly's defense definitely is, orchestrated by that nasty D-line. That D-line is so good. Their secondary is a weak point too, but yeah, those linebackers, 31st against the pass against tight end. That's a huge talking point, Bash. I'm glad you brought that up. And the other big stat of the day, or the update of the day, Zach Cunningham, their actual good linebacker, if you want to talk about it, he's out. He's got a hamstring injury. His hamstring's hamstrung. He's going to be out. So now they got backup linebacker. Their starters aren't that good. So now you got a backup linebacker having to go up against George Kittle. That could be the key to the game. George Kittle might just be the X factor of this game for the 49ers offense against the Philadelphia defense. You're right. The 49ers have to attack them, and they also have to attack that secondary. I want to see the 49ers attack Bradbury. I want to see them attack Slate. I want to see them attack this secondary because all offseason this week, it's just been talk, talk, talk. Debo's talking about how trash Bradbury is. They got to deliver this Sunday. They have to attack Bradbury. What do you think?
I totally agree. And I was also mentioning about the linebackers really quick. DMC can play the slot and he can, pretty much cause fits for those linebackers as well. And having Debo in the backfield and that could just cause all sorts of confusion for any linebacking core in the league. But yeah, Bradbury, Bradbury against Buffalo, though, he did deflect 5 passes. So I know Debo's been running his mouth about him or whatever, and he got an INT as well. He did give up a touchdown, but he was pretty savvy out there against Buffalo. Sorry, those 5 pass deflections. But I don't want to, I don't want Bradbury to have. I don't know, man. I'm not really too big on Debo saying so much about Bradbury. It kind of scares me a little bit that he might try to get in Debo's head during the game. But we'll see, man. The way Purdy's been playing, the way Purdy's been looking out there with this receiving core, though, I'm not too worried.
Speaking of Debo Bradbury, like that's the marquee match. I think they'll try to put Ayuk on Bradbury at times, but for a fact Debo and Bradbury are gonna be linked up at some times. And I know a lot of fans are like, "Oh, Debo be talking this and that." Debo's the one guy that he knows he needs to back up his trash. Like he's gonna get clowned on Monday if the 49ers lose this game. All the media, all the tweets, all this stuff. If the 49ers lose this game, Niners and he doesn't perform, Eagles fans, media, players, they're gonna troll Debo. He knows he has to bring it. So I think Debo's going to have a good game. Donald Johnson in the chat says, I do believe Debo will go up. I think Debo is going to come in there and play his ass up because whether the Niners win or lose, I think Debo knows he's said a lot and he's got to go out there and do the damn thing. But, I like what A.J. Brown said today. I don't know if you saw it. I did post this today about, Debo and Bradbury in the comments and all that stuff. Like, it's just been so much hype between these two teams. But, A.J. Brown and Debo, they're boys. I respect AJ today. He did say, I don't think Debo means any harm. He's just having fun. I don't think it's a shot at Bradbury. That's just how he talks. He's a big kid. Like, those two are boys. Like, he knows that's just how Debo is. That's just his vibe. But Debo is going to be the first guy, if the 49ers win this game on Sunday, that's going to run his. He's going to talk all the trash. And he knows. He knows he's the type of, like, Debo knows that if he has that type of game, nobody can say nothing to him. And he can have the last word, just like the Cowboys last year when he talked all this trash to Parsons after the game. Parsons was running his mouth, and Debo said, that's what happens when you poke the bear. So I think Debo's going to come.
Parsons hasn't been the same ever since.
He hasn't.
The way he talks to the media, that's the way he talks on the podcast and all this.
Yeah, he knows I better not say nothing stupid because they're going to come on my neck.
Debo made him learn a lesson. Speaking of, who was it? Hassan Reddick was saying that the 49ers, they're boo-hooing and crying and all this stuff. Yeah. And well, this is that's I guess as a Philly fan base and the Philly players, they took offense to us saying that, if Purdy played, things would have looked a lot different out there. And I think some people were saying that we would have blown them out or we would have definitely easily won. But at the end of the day, we played that Philly team with no quarterback. So of course we were gonna lose, if freaking, and even if Josh Johnson was healthy out there, that's barely having a quarterback out there even as well.
Yeah,
but Josh Johnson went down. We just literally had CMC trying to be QB. I don't know. It just sucked. It was a nightmare of a game.
CMC and Juice, and that's what. Yeah. So let me get to that quote. Hassan Reddick on Facing San. This was Monday. As soon as the new week rolled on, Hassan Reddick said, "All right, let's start the week with some tea." He said, "Talk is cheap. They're gonna come back in the link. It was a lot of boo-hoos last year, a lot of crying, a lot of what if, a lot of this, a lot of that. They get a chance to come back in here, line that shit up, and prove it again." That's I could rap that, But that's what he said. He goes, they get a chance to come back in here, line it up, and prove it again. But you're right. The 49ers didn't even have their backup quarterback. We had our fullback playing like quarter. So now the 49ers have a chance to come back and go out there and prove, like, yeah, you know what? Last year, if we would have had our quarterback, we would have won the game. And my boy Aaron, shout out to Aaron.
What's up, Aaron?
Super chat. He says, stand with Purdy. Hashtag backwards hat. Hashtag Purdy is elite. Hashtag backwards hat, baby. Bash, you got to throw it around. There we go. We can't. The audio. He turned the hat backwards, and we can't hear him now.
Oh, I was muted. My
Oh, you
bad.
were
I was
muted.
just saying it looks funny when I do it though, but I did it for a quick second.
You got to do
But that was
backwards hat.
I was really dumb when Colin Cowherd said that. I thought that was ridiculous.
Can you
Like
believe that?
he must have really been grasping for straws with material when he came up with that one. Like I don't
Crazy.
know, the production team must have taken the day off or called in sick that day. I don't know.
They might have, bro. Like that's why we wearing the back. We're backwards hat all day, man. Shout out to my boy Aaron, 49ers First Takes. I know you do a show with them. I do a show with them. Love that, man. Appreciate you. But yeah,
Tomorrow, yeah.
backwards hat gang for the win. We are wearing the backwards hat. I can't believe he said that. Like, look, you know how many quarterbacks wear their hats backwards? It's not unprofessional. It is what it is. Colin Cowherd, he's so cringy. But that's what he has to do for his views. Maybe I need to start saying some stupid stuff like that, and I'll get the views. Yo, Brock Purdy's not a good quarterback because he wears his hat backwards. Like, what kind of take is that? And then he was glazing on Jalen Hurts, like, oh, look how great he looks, hat forward. He's well manicured. I was like, what are you talking, bro? It's
Looks
like,
wait, Purdy's didn't Fred Warner say Purdy was like takes the cake for like the cleanest dressing dude on the
yeah,
team or something like
man,
that?
it's so weird
Yeah.
that he was, oh, look
I
at
mean, that's not
people.
the play on the field at the end of the day, though, man.
That's what I'm saying, man. Go out there, like it's stupid, man. Backwards hat. I don't know. I love to troll him. We're wearing the backwards hat all week. But yeah, man, I think Purdy. Let's talk about Purdy real quick. As we said, last year in the NFC Championship game, Niners didn't have him, and every player, every fan has sat here and said it would have been a bigger game, a different game if Purdy was on the field. What do you think? What do you expect out of Brock Purdy? There's a 90% chance of rain. He's played so good in his young career. He's 23 years old, and he's been so good for this team. Like, he's probably going to be the first Pro Bowl quarterback the 49ers have had since Jeff Garcia. And he's one of the best. Like, he's on his way already in 2 years as being one of the best quarterbacks the 49ers have had in a very, very long time. Like, what do you think? What's your expectations for Brock Purdy on Sunday?
Yeah, Brock Purdy's going to be out there with a chip on his shoulder. I mean, who was it? CMC said that. I think when they were telling CMC in that one game when Purdy had a perfect quarterback rating, he was like, "Oh wow, really? Oh wow, man! Like he's all that's good for Purdy because people, other." He said he would say something like, "When people doubt Purdy, it just angers him and makes him play harder or something." So I know Purdy has it in him that people doubted him for this Eagles game and just in general, So I know he's going to be ready out there. The rain reports, I looked it up. The weather reports, it's from what I read, it's probably going to be. It said like rain and some drizzle, possibly during the afternoon hours of the game. It didn't give me a full hourly report when I looked it up on AccuWeather.com, but at least that's what it said a few hours ago when I pulled it up. So it may not be too bad. I was saying after that Cleveland game, man, in the future they better get like if there is a heavy downfall in whatever game they do play, they better get Purdy some damn gloves. Or they better throw a web football out there and practice. And like, I don't know if they do that. I don't know if they do that anyways, but definitely get him used to a web football, man, just in case, you never know.
Yeah. So from what I see, okay, yeah, let's talk about that because Sunday right now there's a 90% chance of rain. For shizzle, gonna drizzle up in the fizzle. 90% chance of rain out there is what they're saying. But I think maybe by game time it shouldn't be raining at game time. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
on
Regardless,
AccuWeather, it said 73% for the afternoon hours. So I don't know
yeah.
what the range was. Yeah.
Regardless, I don't like there's going to be wet conditions. I agree with you. Practice with the wet ball, but Kyle said they don't do that. They practice the same way. They sweat enough, whatever. I think they should practice with the wet ball, but what do I know? I think it's good to mentally prepare for those situations. Brock Purdy says he will wear a glove if it's raining, and he feels like he needs to. So I think Brock's locked and ready to roll and wear a glove if he needs to. But as far as Kyle Shanahan, yeah, he's just going to let him play his business as usual. I do get a little stressed out when the rain comes down when the 49ers play football because we've seen some stressful games over the last couple of years with the rain and the 49ers.
Here comes the rain again. Remember that one?
Yeah. That was a good song. Look at that, my boy. You got that good
What's up,
song.
keeping the faith? That's JD.
Yeah.
Shout out to JD Hawk Hater. He says, I'm keeping the faith. I heard this week they did not practice with the wet ball. Strange move. Okay, you heard that. Interesting. Yeah, that is strange.
That's what Kyle said. He goes, we're not practicing, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, you got to go make those. You got to make those plays. I don't know, man. I am nervous, regardless if it rains or not. I'm nervous of this game. I think that's like the pulse of most fans. But are you nervous, Bash? Are you like stressed out about this game or what?
This game more so than any other game this season. I usually don't get nervous during game week, but obviously throughout the week I'm okay. But when I think about playing the Eagles and how tough they are and how they are very, and like I said, they don't blow out teams, but they find a way to win in close games. And I haven't sat there and watched every single game and every single snap that the Eagles have played, obviously. But from what people say, I don't want this to be a factor at all. And I hate to even bring it up right now, but from what people say, like, oh, the referees give them all the calls and they help them out. Hopefully the 49ers play a clean game penalty wise. I mean, 49ers only had 3 penalties against Seattle, which is pretty damn good for this Niner team. And then I hate to say it, but at points in times this season, this Niner team has looked like the Raiders when it came to penalties. So we definitely can't be playing like that in Philly if we're going to try to win.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they have to play a mistake-free game, and they got to play a penalty-free game, because when you start making those tic-tac penalties and making mistakes, that's how you lose games, man. And especially in a game like this, both teams are very, very even. They're both equal. It's going to be down to the wire. These two teams have great offensive lines, great weapons on their team, good quarterbacks. Good running backs. Like, top to bottom, both of these rosters are so elite. Good coaches. Just everything about these teams is tip top, and it's going to take one mistake here, one penalty here, one bad fumble here, one bad like just one little thing going the wrong way is going to change the complexion of this game. So you're absolutely right. You cannot make penalties. I feel like the 49ers have played better overall in terms of making those silly penalties the last couple of weeks, and they're winning. I mean, that goes hand in hand. They've won 3 in a row. They've cut down on penalties. They've played a lot better. Steve Wilkes standing on business on the sideline, just communicating great. The defense has played good. They've cut down on penalties. Spencer Burford's not playing. I like Spencer, but Feliciano's been in. They're not getting those crazy penalties on the O-line. I feel right now they're in a good position, and I agree with you, Bash. If they can cut down on those penalties, sky's the limit on this Sunday. But I think the other key is the 49ers, if they have the lead, they have to be aggressive. You can't play the game where you're conservative and not play to just lose. You can't just sit there and say, okay, we got to play not to lose the game. I need Kyle to be aggressive. You got to score touchdowns. You can't hang field goals up there. You cannot let this team hang around, because Kansas City did, Philly did, and Buffalo did, and Philly came back and won both of those games, and they should have lost both of those games.
So. Yeah, I agree. I know some people were watching the Seahawks game. In the second half, some people were tweeting out things like, "Oh, Kyle's being conservative. What's going wrong?" And they were complaining. I'm like, "What are you complaining about? We ate turkey on Seattle's field. We won 31-13. But I get it. We were. It was all gas, no breaks through the first half, right? That Seattle game. The first. I love it when Purdy's out there on the first drives, man, because this offense runs like clockwork with Purdy. That right away why Kyle said Purdy's the real deal, and why he was so confident to name him as a starter over Lance, and because this offense runs like so smooth. It's just boom, 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 boom. We're up the field within the blink of an eye. I love the way this offense is on the opening drives. Hopefully, we can continue that pace though throughout the course of a game. And yeah, even if we do build a heavy lead like we did against Seattle, with the Eagles, the Seattle, I was okay though, because I was like, okay, well maybe Kyle's don't want to get in his bag in the second half, and not show his cards for Philly, right? Because Philly's watching them. But for this game, though, if you got to get in your bag, get in your bag, man. Let's do it.
Absolutely, get in your bag, man. No holes barred. You got to throw out the trick plays. You got to mix it up. I think you have to, throw the deep pass. You got to mix up the little trick plays, Debo jet sweeps, all that stuff. Maybe a little halfback toss, pass. A little flea flicker action, something. I think Kyle's gonna pull out one of these trick plays out of his bag. And again, you're right. Purdy does a great job of leading this offense. He's such a game. He manages this team. He keeps that ball moving down the field. They like to. I like to use the word matriculate. They always matriculate the ball down the field very well with Brock Purdy. It's just a well-oiled machine, and they know how to get that ball into the red zone. But they have to score when they're there. Kittle, like you said, use Kittle. Get him involved in the red zone. Get touchdowns. Brandon Ayuk has to have a big game if he wants to get paid. This is a game where they're going to look at the stats and say, holy shit, it's because of you, Brandon Ayuk. We won this game. How much money do you want, Mr. Brandon Ayuk? This is a game where Ayuk has to step in and use a separation and just dog walk those corners. I think this is a game where Debo Samuel, he's been, talking, put the money where your mouth is. These weapons have to explode. I know CMC is going to be out there and do his thing, but everybody has to be on point. They got to throw the ball down the field. You can't play conservative. Go for the gusto, man. And I think Brock Purdy, is going to come in and showcase what we could have seen last year in the NFC Championship. So I'm ready for this game, Bash, but they have to, like you said, protect him, not make mistakes, and take the ball down the field. But the one thing Brock Purdy has to prove, if they do get to this point, is if they're losing, can he come back? Because that is still the question on everybody's mind. Because the 49ers, if they get off to a lead, you're right, they play so much better. They're humming. Their offense is, a little bit more fine-tuned because they can run the ball, keep the ball away from the other defense or from the other team, and that helps them win the game. But if they're not winning this game, which you never know, this is a tough game, man. Those two teams are very evenly matched. Can the 49ers do enough to come back? That's what we have to find out. And this could be a game where the 49ers are going to be really tested to the brink. Again, to me, this is what they call a measuring stick game. Both teams are playing the best team in the NFC. These are the best two teams, and they're going to measure up and see what they have against elite competition because no team has played as good of a team as each other, and these two teams are basically as good as each other, if that makes sense.
Very, very true. And I know you mentioned earlier about Debo. It's good that the 49ers are getting Debo back on those runs. We're not doing too much, but we're doing it enough to show that it's still a threat. And he's been successful on those little outside runs. He looks explosive, which is nice. And we did run some type of trick play where he was supposed to throw the ball, but that one didn't work. That one didn't work out too well.
I know. I was like, hope, because he was trying to throw it to BA. I would have been so crazy to see a Debo to Ayuk Tutty. I was like, oh, it didn't work. But I think that they're going to try to pull this play out again because I saw that. I was like, it didn't work. But it kind of was one of those plays, like it kind of just went under the radar. I think they're going to try that play again back. That you read my mind because when I did say trick plays, I feel like that's what they're going to try to do because they kind of had it, but I feel like Seattle kind of sniffed it out because Pete Carroll knows this team pretty good. And I was like, I think if Kyle changes it up just a little, it might work against the Eagles because their secondary, I am not going to lie to you, it's just not as good as Seattle. Seattle's secondary is better. I mean, I know the Niners cooked them, but still, their secondary is better than the secondary of Philly, in my mind. They got some good young corners, but I think the 49ers, you're right. If they can get what's his name, Debo outside to the edges, it might happen. So
yeah, it's nice to have that added effect to the Niner run game. CMC's a pretty fast running back. People miss the speed of Mostert, and they kind of wish we picked up a nice fast running back like Devon A-Chain or even DeAndre Swift. The Eagles have that nice speedy running back. CMC's almost there, but just not the pure breakaway speed. But it's nice to have that Debo element in the run game. And I was mentioning Elijah Mitchell earlier. It was nice to see him get back because he's fast, but he's not like big time fast. But it was just nice to see him look fast again, Elijah Mitchell. And yeah, I mean, the Niners run defense and run offense is also obviously running really, really nice, but the Eagles are really good at stopping the run as well. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes when we try to run the ball on them. It's gonna be
evenly
matched.
That
D line is sick on the Eagles, very similar to ours, actually.
Yeah, very, very, very similar team. Both of these teams got the best defensive lines in the NFC. Offensive line for the Eagles probably give them the edge, but the Niners' O line has played good, and they got to be able to handle and hold that D line in check. But they do have one guy that's been nursing an injury, Fletcher Cox. He's got a groin injury. He's supposed to come in and play, though. He's questionable, but that to me tells me he's probably going to play. We'll see, though. That's a big loss if they don't have Fletcher Cox. He's a great player. Lane Johnson also had a groin injury, but he said he's playing this week. He's not on the injury list. What's up with Philly and groin injuries, huh? But
they're gonna have a few more of them on Sunday. Does Lane Johnson still do that?
It's that tush, all that tush pushing they've been doing.
Exactly.
They be tush
I was waiting for you to bring up the tush push.
Yeah, they all that. What do you think about the tush push, man? You think the Niners are gonna stop that nonsense?
I just hope the game isn't close enough where it's a factor. If we win by 10 points or 8 points or whatever, and they do the tush push a couple times, I don't care. But if if it's gonna be down to the wire, that tush push is gonna matter. It's gonna matter when they're at the freaking goal line and we got to stop them, or when they cross the 45-yard line and they need that extra. It's crazy, man. That play is really annoying. I mean, those guys are literally doing crab walks. So the offensive linemen get on all fours and they twirl around and they kind of sweep their legs, and it freaking works. I haven't seen other teams do it, but supposedly other teams aren't as successful as doing it as a damn Eagles are. So I don't know.
I hate that stupid play, dude. I can't stand it. I want to see the 49ers stop it in like a critical junction and be like, oh
I think
My,
we're gonna stop at least once. I think we'll stop it at least
I think
once.
we might. My man Channel 49 says the tush push will be shushed on Sunday. I swear, I want to see Fred Warner like stop it, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, the Fred!" Like that would be an MVP, like a Defensive Player of the Year moment. I want to. See, I'm so tired of this play, man. So tired of this play.
The brotherly shove, right? The brotherly
Yeah,
shove. That's what
brotherly
they.
shove, tush push,
Yeah.
what to call it. Stupid play, man. Oh my God. Yeah,
Keeping the
Minnesota did
faith.
try it on us.
Yeah,
Minnesota
keeping the
tried.
faith said something.
Yeah,
He
we'll
said
see.
let Javon Hargrave let Javon Hargrave get a snap at fullback on the goal line. I'll
I saw
William
that.
Refrigerator Perry.
Oh
That'd be
man.
funny. Kick
Speaking
the
of
door. I
Hargrave,
finally remember what it was. Kick the door down. To
kick the
kick the
door
door
down.
down.
Kick the door down.
Kick the door down. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Speaking of Hargrave, man, he's a former Eagle. They tried to press him this week, and he was like, "Nope, I don't talk trash. I just want to go in there play the game. No ill will, you know." What do you think? You think he's going to be a big X factor for the 49ers going into the Eagles? I mean, he's played on that team. He knows a lot about them. What do you think? Hargrave's been heating up over the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Yeah,
been
he
a
was. Yeah, he was dormant for a bit, right? It was like at the beginning of the season, like with Pittsburgh right away. He looked like the real Hargrave, and for a minute, like where's Hargrave been? What's going on? Where is he? Where he at? And then we bring in Chase Young, and all of a sudden the defense just comes back to life. And like, and on top of that, the coverage, we do some coverage changes as well. And I just think Hargrave is like in full force right now. I'm ready to see him get a sack. I
yeah,
think he
yeah.
gets at least one sack against Philly.
You think so?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he knows how to penetrate this, this offensive line. But he's got a tough task in that middle. Him and Arik Armstead, who's been dealing with the foot injury this week, against the mighty Jason Kelsey. Kelsey's one of the best centers
He
I've seen.
is.
He's so good, man. Like when it all goes down and his career's over, he's definitely going to be a Hall of Famer. That's going to be a tough task, man. He's a good center. Hargrave has battled him in practice over the years, so that's going to be a fun matchup to see in the middle against Kelsey there. So that'll be fun. And then obviously you got the edges. You got Bosa, who's been playing phenomenal since Chase Young's there, and then you got Chase Young himself, the X factor, the guy that has played against them many times because he was on Washington in their division, so he knows a lot of Philadelphia. So he's had a lot of experience against them. What do you think, Chase Young? We know he's been worth the trade so far. What do you expect out of Chase Young and Nick Bosa, the Buckeye bookends, man?
Yeah, Buckeye bookends. This is the third time of the season that Chase Young is going to be facing the Eagles. It's kind of weird that somebody plays somebody 3 times in a regular season, but that's what happens when you do the trade. Jordan Mailata, who's a tackle who I've always wanted to be, who I wish we would have drafted. I wanted us to draft him because he's just such a physical specimen on draft day. And I thought maybe we could try to work him, but other teams draft all these big, huge guys, and we never do. I get it. But I've heard that he's been struggling as of late, though, just a bit. I mean, I don't know. I read something that he's like 4th in the NFL with most sacks given up. But in terms of left tackles, yes, he gave up 6 sacks this year, so it's like 4th among left tackles, and he has a higher than average pressure rate. So I saw a few clips where people were getting around him and working him early in the season. The first time the Chase Young faced the Eagles, he actually got a sack and a few pressures and made some plays on Jordan Mailata. Second time around, it wasn't as easy, but I'm not too worried about Chase Young, actually. Yeah, Chase Young's been doing work. Did I mention about Lane Johnson earlier, that stupid offside thing? Is he still doing that?
God,
Is he
he's
still
like
doing that crap?
offside merchant. Yeah, he's not the only one. I can't remember who posted, but there was like some film breakdowns. I can't remember who posted, but they showed the people that, like the guy that was subbing in for Lane Johnson this week or last week, like he was doing the same false start. Like he was halfway already in his block, and they didn't even snap the ball. I was like, God, dude, the Eagles find every little way to twist the game, and they do it, man. But yeah, Lane Johnson is a false start merchant, man. That guy is the king of false start, and then he gets away with it, and he's already in his block. So when the edge rusher comes off, can't get past them. It's ridiculous.
How is it that we're sitting on our couches? We're supposed to be know nothings in regards to these professionals in the NFL, and then these referees who have been doing this for God knows how many years just sit. We see it, but they don't. I don't understand it. Makes no sense.
It makes no sense, man. I don't get it. I hope that they figure out a way to open their eyes. But, it's what my boy 49ers Throwback says. He says, can the 49ers beat the refs? Like, is it? I hate to bring up the refs and say, this is good. It is going to be a factor because the refs in pro sport, in sports in general, not just in football, not just the Niners, not just with the, like, the refs, man, they dictate so much of how games go. Do you think this is going to come down to a bad call by the refs? I hope to God it doesn't, Bash, but What do you think? Do you think the refs are going to have a big influence on this game?
Oh, I just I really, really hope not. I mean, I give it about a 60-40, 60% that it doesn't and 40% that it does. So it's gonna
That's
be
pretty
in
high.
that shaky. We're gonna be in that shaky area where we gotta play well. The turnovers, the turnover battle though. I mean, Niners have been really good with the turnover plus 11 turnover ratio this year, right? And
Yeah.
I don't think the Eagles are too good at that stuff.
No, the 49ers have been really good at getting turnovers. They lead the NFL in interception. Like the 49ers are a very, opportunistic defense. They've had turnovers, they're getting interceptions. Now they're starting to rack up the sacks. Like this defense is so good. So I feel like this defense, if they can play the game they need to play and get the pressure on Jalen Hurts, they can make him uncomfortable and he'll make mistakes. Jalen Hurts has what, like 10, 11 turnovers this season? So it's not like he's not prone to making mistakes. 49ers got to get in this man's face and force him to turn over the ball. And he's done it many times. And I feel like the 49ers, if they can apply that pressure that they need to do, Jalen Hurts is going to be throwing pick cities. You got Fred Warner, who I think is going to have a big game. He's going to be the guy that's going to be shadowing Jalen, and he's going to have to contain him because, again, one of the other aspects of this game that the Eagles have, that the 49ers have struggled over the years, is mobile quarterback play. Mobile quarterback play has been a bugaboo for the 49ers for a long time. This is a big matchup. Can Fred Warner and this linebacking crew contain him? I hope to God they can, because if he uses his legs, might be a long day. And we've seen what Jalen Hurts can do with his legs. We've seen what the 49ers have done against mobile quarterbacks historically. It doesn't always look pretty. Lamar's cooked us. Russell Wilson's cooked us. Hell, last year Marcus Mariota looked like fucking like Pat Mahomes. So
Mariota's.
I don't want to see Jalen running all over us. Against Buffalo last week, he tucked it down, looked like Mike Vick, drops it in for the game-winning touchdown. I don't want to see that against the Niners on Sunday. Fred Warner has to come play business.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes we'll get that pass rush going, and out of nowhere, it's like it just splits. Everything just splits open like the Red Sea, and the quarterback has like a 10-yard window to run straight through against us sometimes, and that'll be really, really scary if that happens with Jalen Hurts. I mean, but in general, our pass. We talk about the pass rush again. It has obviously the resurgence with Chase Young, and Bosa leads the league in quarterback hits, and everybody's sacks is going up. I get it. The one guy I think that would, if he steps up, I almost guarantee a win. It's the X factor of the pass rush is Randy Gregory. If we get something extra out of him, then we'll just elevate to the next level. I'm like when we first got Randy Gregory, first game he got a sack. I get it, and almost like from the other games outwards, it almost seems like you're getting like Omenihu or Ibukam or Jordan Willis type production, which isn't bad. I'm not saying
But
it's
that's what
bad,
you
but
want. But that's what
I
I
just want a
expect.
little more. I just want to see a little
Okay.
more, though. I just want
Okay.
to see a little more.
But see, when they signed Randy, that's what I thought they were getting is because that was my whole thing this offseason is, hey, you're getting rid of Emmanuel, you're getting rid of Jordan Willis, you're getting rid of Samson Ebicam. Who's replacing those guys? Like, they were important. They weren't elite level guys, but they were good role players. That's what the 49ers need. Nick Bosa is your superstar. He's your elite guy. Chase Young now is your other elite guy. Those are the type of guy. You needed another elite guy with Bosa. He couldn't do everything on his own. He was getting triple team, second, double team, chip block,
Chipped.
every type, chip like crazy. Now you can't chip him because if you double and chip him, Chase Young's coming for your neck on the other side. And I liked Gregory. I think someone in the comments said he's a luxury, right? So that's the way I see it. Is yes, he's a good rotational guy, and he's going to give you that Omenihu type production, which was really good. There was times where Omenihu came up and made one of the big clutch sacks of the game. So I like that they have Gregory. He's better. It's because Drake Jackson was just not strong enough and didn't have the endurance to go out there and be a dominant factor. Like, he would have been a good rotational guy to have on the team. Unfortunately, his injury, but he's not the elite guy that Chase Young is on the other side of Bosa. And hey, if Randy Gregory can give us a little bit of juice, I'll happy. But I do like how he's playing. But yeah, if he becomes a big X factor in this game and you get more production out these guys, then hey, I'll take it, because this old line is tough and you have to keep those legs fresh, keep Chase Young fresh, keep Nick Bosa fresh. And Clellan Ferrell, that's another guy. He's kind of stepped up a little bit with Chase Young back in there too. I think this whole defensive line has really cooked over the last couple of weeks because of the Chase Young effect. 15 sacks in 3 games is crazy to me. That really has that's the biggest stat that I was like, man, this guy really has changed the game. When it's contract season, he could just go to RSF 49ers and tell Lynch, look, check the stat out that I saved back. Look at you remember when I made the 49ers have 5 sacks a week in 3 weeks? Run me my check. That's what he can do. I'm getting Chase Young paid. We getting him paid, baby. We getting him paid. When we post stats like that, we're getting these players paid. Trust me, I get players message me in the offseason. Hey, can you post some stats? I need a show. Like, they've actually used social media as a bargaining chip. It's crazy. Like, I've gotten messages from Jaquaski Tart. He's like, yo, his media team was like, hey, can you start posting some Jaquaski stuff? So here's some stats. So if you sometimes see me in the offseason hyping up a player, they might have run me a check or two to help them get their money. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But
I'm
back to
sorry, Jake Jackson.
sorry, Drew Jackson. Who? Hey, you would do
better.
it too.
You can do better than me.
You would do it too for a check. Yeah, I bet it's my boy. We talked about Andre 3000 for like the last 3 weeks.
I know. One more thing though about the pass rush that kind of scared me a little bit. In the Seattle games, I know we hit the quarterback. We hit the quarterback 12 times. And we had 6 sacks, right, against Geno Smith, which is great. But every now and then there was a breakdown in the pass rush where he had all the time in the world to throw, and he wind up and try to throw it deep down to DK Metcalf, and my heart would stop. Like, damn, this is scary. But thank God Mooney Ward stepped up, right? Mooney Ward was in his bag and he looking good. And what I'm trying to say is I don't want to see Jalen Hurts have these moments where he gets to wind up and have all day to throw it deep down the sideline. It'll look a little bit different. That's all.
I agree, because Jalen Hurts is a lot better than Geno Smith, and if you give him time, he's going to make you pay, because that's just how he is. He's a little bit more accurate, a little bit more spruce on that ball when he throws it. So, and Mooney Ward, he stepped up. We talked about him, seatbelt. He clamped up DK Metcalf, who last night went bananas. You see DK Metcalf, he couldn't do that against Mooney Ward. So that performance that Mooney Ward had last Thursday, that needs more time. Like, I tweeted that out last night. I was like, holy crap. Like, when I saw DK get that third touchdown, I tweeted, I was like, this Mooney Ward performance against DK is more impressive after watching what DK did last night. Like, it was impressive what he did. He was clamping that man. Like, he let him do nothing because he was so physical against him. So you're absolutely right. Mooney Ward was clutch last week because the 49ers did have some breakdowns, and Geno Smith did have some moments where he could have had a game-saving moment or a game-changing moment. But Mooney Ward, you got to give him every ounce of respect in the world. He's got to do it again this week, because you are going to have some moments where the pocket collapses. You're not always going to be able to put the pressure, and Jalen's going to drop, he's going to drop some bombs. And hopefully Mooney Ward can lock up A.J. Brown the same way he locked up.
That's what I was going to say. Was he going to be on A.J. or on Devontae Smith?
Probably I'm AJ. Pretty sure he'll be on A.J. Brown, because he's similar body type in terms of DK. And, Mooney Ward's very physical. That's the type of guy. And credit to Mooney, because you heard the story, right? After the game, he talked about how Kyle basically told him before the game, like, yo, you are covering DK. Like, that's great. Like, to me, the performance is even better because he wasn't even in the game. Oh, they practiced all week. I'm sure he had some moments in practice where, they practiced, certain situations. But before the game, Kyle tells him, I need you to be covering DK. Like, that wasn't his assignment. And before the game, he just like, okay, I got DK. And he worked his ass. Like, that is so impressive to me. That makes it more, even more better. It just makes it even more special.
More better.
More better. What am I? I hope there's no English teachers on here tonight. It made it more special to me that he was not even assigned to that till right before the game, and he went out there and he had the performance he did. So I think Mooney has to play A.J. Brown because of the fact of he just played a similar receiver, DK. And that means my X factor for this game is Ambry Thomas, Devonta Smith. That is a matchup of all matchups, my friend. A.J. Brown is good, but his presence, he gets double teamed. He always opens it up for Devonta Smith, and that man has track speed. He's quick. He's a burner. Ambry Thomas is probably the fastest corner we have on this team, and he has to play tough. He has to play physical and not allow Devonta to go over the top and use that speed. That, to me, is the matchup of the night. Ambry Thomas, Devonta Smith. Ambry Thomas has played his ass off over the last couple of weeks, man, and I hope he continues.
You mentioned Ambry Thomas. I mean, he ran a 4.4 flat 40, not the most impressive 40, but definitely a pretty good 40. And I know in Michigan, in regards to his speed, they used to actually run him on offense as well.
Yeah,
they ran him on some gimmicky type. I thought it was end arounds or wide receiver type stuff they used to do.
Yeah. He was a quick boy in Michigan. So I like how he's been playing these last couple weeks. This is a game where Ambry Thomas can really pat himself on the back if he has a big performance. And mentally, I think it will really help. And that's the thing. I feel like Ambry has done better over the last couple of weeks because mentally he's confident now. Steve Wilkes gave him that opportunity a few weeks ago. They said, okay, we got to make the adjustments. They come out of the bye week. They bench Oliver, who was a free agent signing. That was Steve Wilkes' like biggest offseason signing. Like he was so behind. This is my guy. He's the best cornerback in the market that we could sign. And they benched him. They moved Lenore to the slot. And here comes Ambry Thomas on the outside. And he had a great game that game against the Jaguars. And ever since then, like mentally, he's just locked in, man. And that was amazing for Steve Wilkes to give this man another opportunity and believe in him because people wrote him off. I wrote him off. Everybody said he's terrible. Like, why did we waste a pick on Ambry Thomas? And now Ambry Thomas is playing like a damn lockdown corner. I absolutely love it, Bash. It is amazing.
And again, the silent safety that nobody talks about is Tayshaun Gibson. Having himself a season. I mean, he doesn't get the huge big plays, but he's the reason why 49ers barely. I think the 49ers are league best in terms of giving up the least yards per reception. I had it written down in my notes, but if I could pull it up. But yeah, I mean, how often do you see the 49ers give up a deep pass? I mean, very, very rarely. So yeah, and having that safety back there helps a whole lot. And people were mentioning Ji'Ayir Brown in the chat. Sucks that we lost Hufanga. Hufanga's one of my guys, but maybe we got something in Ji'Ayir Brown, and we can you can touch on Zach Ertz after that if you want.
Oh man, yeah. So Ji'Ayir Brown, I love the young man. I think he's definitely a big star for the future. I mean, they didn't trade up for him for nothing. He stepped in well, but this is the biggest game of his career already in 3 games, and since he's had to take over for now for Hufanga, this is his biggest challenge, and I think he's going to have to really, really step up and going to test this 49ers defense deep. We talked about it earlier. They're going to really, really, really test them deep. And it's a big game for Ji'Ayir. I think Jalen Hurts and this offense knows. Sirianni knows, hey, look, that's the weak link right there. He's a rookie. Let's test him out. This is a big game, man. Let's see what he can do. They're going to try to rattle this young man. And he was a gamer in college. He was a leader at Penn State. He's played some big games, man. So this is where the moment cannot be too big for him. We talked about a couple of weeks ago when we said the moment wasn't too big for him. I think Fred Warner mentioned that and this and that. This is the biggest stage, so hopefully the moment's not too big for him. According to Zach Ertz, now I know he got cut a couple days ago. Speaking of Zach Ertz from the Cardinals, he cleared waivers and he's free to go to any team. 49ers today, Kyle Shanahan said he did not put a waiver claim on him, so obviously he cleared. So 49ers aren't really looking into getting a Zach Ertz type player. They got George Kittle. He's tearing it up like you mentioned earlier. He's one of the top tight ends in the league. I think they're happy with their tight ends. But I feel like this is a guy that somebody's going to snatch him up. I think maybe the Ravens because they need tight end issues, help because Mark Andrews is out. Keep an eye on him, but I don't think the 49ers are going to go after him. Eagles might. Goddard's been dealing with the forearm issue, although he's coming back next week against the Cowboys. He's doubtful this week. But it is interesting to keep an eye on this guy. He's definitely going to be one of those players that I'm sure that we'll see in the playoffs somewhere, somehow. Mm-hmm. He's a good player. But, yeah, the 49ers did not pick up a claim from according to Kyle Shanahan, and he's free to sign. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I thought it would have been nice to have him team up with Kittle. I don't know if Kittle, but then again, Zach Ertz maybe didn't want to take a back seat, to Kittle, and I don't know how much money he was asking for. So then again, that could have gotten in the way. But
sure.
Charlie Warner caught a pass right against the Seahawks.
He did. Yeah, he did. These other tight ends ain't doing nothing, but it's the George Kittle show. And speaking of tight ends, I'm glad you brought up tight ends because last year against the Eagles, we saw the issue with the tight end blocked Hassan Reddick. It didn't happen.
Tyler Kroft.
Yo, man, they can't be doing this season. Kyle can't be doing this. Bash, they cannot chip out Hassan Reddick. They need to handle business against Hassan Reddick. I don't need to see him doing this shit out there with his thumb. I cannot see this man go out there and be chipped by a tight end. Please. I got PTSD watching this game again the other night. I was like, oh, I watched it again, and I turned it off after the first quarter.
Yeah. I didn't watch the game again. You're way better than me. I couldn't rewatch that game. I could not. But I definitely saw the play again where he hit Purdy, and something in my back of my head told me I'll get so mad if this asshole tries to pull that off again. If he had the nerve to hit Purdy in the elbow and the arm again like that, that would just make me go nuts. So hopefully we don't see that. And I believe last year when we played Reddick, we didn't scout him properly. I mean, he disregards the run. Any run fake is nothing to him. He just goes straight to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was mentioning the 49ers pass defense earlier. I'll just the stat breakdown really quick. So 49ers are fourth in the NFL in terms of passer rating for their secondary. It's 77.1 in the NFL, which is pretty good. So basically top four. And number one in the league in interceptions. Everybody knows that, 15 interceptions. And I mentioned the yards per catch. So they're second in the NFL, giving up the least yards per catch, which is 9.3 yards. So it's good to know about the 49ers pass
Pretty good,
defense to
man.
secondary. Pretty good for a secondary where Niner fans were banging the table. Oh, we need to trade for a cornerback. We need to do this. So we need to, and I'm like, I was telling a lot of people, like, I've always been a pass rush first guy. If you get that pass rush right, your average cornerbacks are going to become good, So that's pretty much where we're going right now.
That's the thing. Their secondary was having too much pressure on them. Now you have a great offensive or defensive line, and they're generating pressure, making quarterbacks make mistakes because of all the uncomfortable situations they find themselves in, and it helps out a secondary. Not to say that they couldn't benefit from another good secondary player, but they still would have had more pressure on them. And then cornerback's such a hard position to play, especially nowadays with how the offensive game plans are and how the league favors offense, and those players and wide receivers. You can't even touch them, man. Like you watch games from 10 years ago, the big hits, the strappy secondary holding on, grabby. Like Richard Sherman was a physical corner. He couldn't, like Darrelle Revis, those guys, they had an island for a reason because they could not be, out physical, like out mustered. You know what I mean? So the game's changed, man, and that's why I hate sometimes when players like when Lenore get. I'm me, I'm a Lenore guy. He gets discredited Lenore's terrible. He's not giving up big plays. He gives up like small plays here and there. He hasn't let up a touchdown in like so many. I can't off the top of my head. I don't have the stats in front of me, but Lenore's a good cornerback, man. I know he lets up a few plays here and there. He's still young, man. He's still young, but he's been a very solid cornerback. So, and it's a tough position because you have to be able to give that receiver, that cushion, and it's hard, man. Receivers get all the favorite, and the quarterbacks get all the favoritism by the refs and stuff. So, Niners cornerbacks have played pretty well, especially since the pass rush has gotten better. Ambry, we talked about him, a big step up. We love to see that. And they got some other young guys. Darrell Luter, I like what I've seen out of him in special teams. He saved a touchdown last week. I mean, that was a big play. He chased the guy down off the 55-yard kickoff return.
That was really nice.
That was huge. They could have scored 7. They scored a field goal. That's a big part of the game. And I like Sam Womack. He's been playing special teams, but they have good young cornerback depth that I'm actually really happy about. So I'm not too worried. Those young guys just have to develop and get better. But again, I've been very, very impressed by Ambry Thomas. That's my X factor on offense. On defense, what about offense? Who do you think's the X factor on offense, Bash?
X factor. So, I mentioned how I think Kittle's gonna have a pretty good game. Mm-hmm. X factor on offense. Let's see. I don't know. Do you want me to stick with Kittle or do I have to go with somebody else?
No, you can roll with someone else. You can say if Kittle's your guy. Say
Kittle's my guy. I mean, I can't say enough about Kittle, so I'm going to roll with Kittle. Very important in the blocking game. He's stepped it up the past few weeks in the passing game, and him and Purdy are getting that end zone connection back, which I love. I love the fact that when Purdy stepped in last year, Kittle all of a sudden became a red zone threat. After all these years of him not being one, people were saying he wasn't one. Lo and behold, you change the quarterback, voila. I mean, I just think, I want to go to Purdy really quick. He just is not. Purdy's not getting enough credit. I get in too many arguments with 49er fans saying that they're not sold on Purdy or saying that, he's good if the team has a lead, but he's the worst quarterback in the league if we're behind. There's some like, do you know how we get those leads? He happens to
throw the ball to those guys. Yeah.
People aren't looking at. They say, he's got all these weapons. He's got all these weapons. Jimmy had all the weapons too. Jimmy wasn't throwing passes on an accurate level, as accurate as Purdy is. Purdy's accuracy is really, really nice.
So accurate.
The timing too, man. Everybody's in stride, and
the accuracy is crazy. He leads the NFL in percent. Like, it is crazy how he anticipates where his receivers. Like, he's like a physicist in his mind. Like, he's like dissecting the angles. He's like, okay, in 3 seconds, if I get the ball here at this angle here, Brock Purdy or George Kittle will be right here. Brandon Ayuk. He threw the ball in tight coverage, 4 defenders flanking Ayuk. He threw it only where he can get it. He threw the dot to Brandon Ayuk. I get it. CMC is probably going to be a big focal point. They're going to run the ball. Kittle, like you said, I love that pick. Debo, I know he's going to come strap it up because he's been talking this and that and the other. I know Brandon Ayuk, we said it, he's got to make his money, earn his pay. But to me, the X factor of this game is Brock Purdy. Hey, guess what?
Brock
All off
Purdy.
season, we talked about if they would have had Brock Purdy, we win this game. That's the X factor. We didn't have him last year.
There you
We have him
go.
this year. Brock Purdy is the X factor of this game. If he walks into the link and leaves that game with a fucking win, Bash, you better the media, they better start talking about him like he's an MVP. Backwards hat, forwards hat, sideways hat. It doesn't matter. MVP, baby. Stand on business. Now his we can't hear him.
I always do that. I always do that when I get too excited. The people that don't appreciate Brock Purdy, this guy, Brock Purdy, man, how many quarterbacks in the league, or how many Niner quarterbacks in the league have we seen? Forget the elite quarterbacks in the league. I'm talking about our quarterbacks. How many Niner quarterbacks have you seen complete passes with guys in his face or him? The moment he throws a ball, boom, he takes a big shot. Yet that throw that he made when he took that big shot was on time. It was accurate. You name it. And it's just this guy does not get enough credit. I don't understand it at all. It's just the weirdest thing. You know, we really have something special, I think, in this guy. And I doubted him because he got hurt and all this other stuff. But you know, he came back. He had that miraculous speedy recovery. I thought maybe you might see a drop off in arm strength or whatever. His arm looks stronger than it does last year. So I mean, I'm all about Brock. That's a great X factor for the game. And you can go ahead and follow up with the comments, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. X Factor. The fans are hyped up now. Backwards hat, Mr. Brock Purdy, swagalicious. I hope that he walks into the link, leaves it with the dub, and goes to the podium with the backwards hat. That would be the biggest flex of the whole weekend. Like to go in to the link, go out there, beat the Eagles, rock it with your hat backwards, and talk like it is. Because guess what? He can calling. Oh my! That's all I want to see this weekend. Is Niners win and rock the backwards hat at the podium. That's
he's 3-0 against the Seahawks. He's the reason why we ate turkey on the Seahawks field. Yeah. And George Kittle ran off the field with the turkey, and they throwing turkey legs at everybody. I mean, this team that we got led by Brock Purdy is really special.
Yeah, it's great, man. So without further ado, Bash, we're here towards the end of the show. As we always do, we love to talk about predictions. It's Prediction Friday. What do you think, man? What's your final score? We've been talking for an hour. What's your final score of the game, my man?
It's going to be a close one. I don't want now. Some people are saying that we're going to be scoring up in the 30s like we normally do. The dirty Purdy 30, as I like to call it. I love to see that, but Philly is a tough team. They got that tough D line. It's not going to be easy. Nick Sirianni's got a bunch of tricks up his sleeve. They got that stupid brotherly shove, the tush push, whatever you want to call it. Some people call it the ass smash. 25-19 25-19 Niners. You know, it is going to be semi-close, but we're going to find a way to pull it off. And Purdy's going to be wearing his hat backwards. He's going to come out victorious. And yeah, that's my score.
Some people call the ass smash. The ass smash? Oh my
the
God.
Tush push.
Yeah, tush push, ass smash. That, oh my God, that's the funniest thing I've heard all day, bro. The ass smash. Oh my! I'm tweeting that on Sunday. Holy
Go ahead,
shit,
feel free to. I didn't make it up. I think Aaron said it first or something.
Ash smash.
Aaron for 49ers first.
Wild. That is wild, Bash. That is crazy. I don't know if I can follow that up. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good game. I think the 49ers are gonna, get they're gonna have the edge in turnovers, and that's what we talked about. Is whoever wins the game in turnovers is gonna win this game. I think they're gonna be able to run the ball. They got to control the time of possession and line of scrimmage, all that, yada, yada. Play not to lose the game, but this is Philly, man, in the link. It's going to be a hostile environment. I hate to do this to you guys, but I think the 49ers win this game on a game-winning field goal, and everybody's going to praise Jake Moody after this game. I feel it in my bones. It's coming down to a field goal. It's 24-21 Niners, and we are going to sit here and praise Jake Moody all week after this performance. I feel it. Game-winning field goal. He's going to redeem himself from that Browns loss where he missed the field goal. I feel it in my bones. This is the week Jake Moody earns all your damn respect from the 49ers fan base. For those that, discredit him, myself included, because I get so nervous watching this man. But he's hitting a game-winning field goal. I think Purdy's going to be solid. 3 touchdowns. CMC, man, he'll probably catch one. Um, I'm hyped up, man. Somebody asked, do you think CMC should be in the MVP conversation, or what are his chances? He absolutely should be in the MVP conversation. Like, he's scoring touchdowns like wildfire. This guy's amazing. He's changed this offense since he came onto this team last year. Love CMC. He definitely should be in it. But if Brock Purdy goes into the link and wins this game, they better put him in the MVP conversation. That's my prediction, 24-21 on the leg of Jake Moody to win the game.
That's gonna be scary to watch, man. If it goes down to the wire and now Jake Moody lined up to kick the game-winning field goal, and like, are you gonna like cover your eyes, or
I'm gonna do this?
One eye cover.
Let's go!
Shout out to Brian Cope. He's one of Jake Moody's biggest supporters. There was an interesting comment on your channel from Young CJ.
Yeah.
If you want to pull it up,
let me check it out. Shout out to my boy Charlie Higgs. He said MV Purdy. It's my boy, big Charlie Higgs. Let me see. What's the comment?
About Ray Ray. Let
me see.
From Young CJ at 7:57 p.m.
Let's see, Young CJ.
Towards the bottom of scroll. It's above the Charlie Higgs comment.
Okay.
Above Big City Man.
Find it. Oh, okay. Young CJ says, I need Ray to return a punt for a touchdown. I mean, maybe that comes down to a big special teams play. I don't know. What do you think?
I just want Ray to get a damn decent punt return, period. A 15-yard one, a 12-yard one, something. Not this crap where he's running here, running there, and gets like 2 yards. Like, come on, Ray, you got to step up for us, dog.
Running like a chicken with his head cut out. Yeah, I get a little nervous watching him return the ball. Do you get nervous?
Yeah. It's lately I've been like, dude, come on, man, you got to make something happen. Otherwise, just call a fair catch. But on the flip side, I got 99 problems, but a Mitch ain't one.
Oh,
with that helicopter spin on that punt.
Banana punt goes crazy, bro. The banana punt. Mitch Wishnowsky, bro, he's definitely all pro punter. He's a boss, man. That banana punt, he's amazing, dude. Like, honestly, special teams is going to be a big factor of the game. We're not talking about it enough, but the line, the game is always won in the trenches, as we say, and you got to get defensive turnovers and all that stuff. But you got to win the position of field position, like the game of field position. And Mitch Wishnowsky is the best punter in the league, and I think that's a big factor to this game. We talked about Darrell Luter and Womack and all those guys. Special teams make a difference. The 49ers are without George Odom. Their safety, their special. This is like a special teams god. He's like the messiah of special teams. Like, Kyle Shanahan was raving about this guy. He was sick that he got hurt. Torn bicep. That's an unfortunate injury. That's a big loss. People don't realize enough. But I hope they can replace his presence. We saw Darrell Luter last week. Ronnie Bell, Sam Womack. Like, those guys are going to have to step up in special teams, because winning the field position game is massive. Shout out to my boy Greedy Greg. He said, what's good, Greedy Greg? How about everybody in the chat? Shout out to y'all.
Yeah, Joey Mahoney's up in the chat. Donald Johnson, Big City Man. See all you guys. Randy Osorno. Shades by Shardall.
Let's go, my boy Doll.
We need Ronnie Bell to return some kicks.
Let's go. I hope I hope that maybe he does, but we'll see. At the end of the day, I just hope that the field position is not horrible for the 49ers, and they're able to, get the ball upfield and they don't have their backs against the wall. That's all I hope for. I don't want them to be up in deep territory in the Eagles field, and that's when things get a little stressful. We saw Brock throw that pick six last week back against the wall. Now, it happens. Those things happen. But in Philly, if that happens, momentum's a hell of a drug over there. So.
Yes. So, as far as bowl predictions goes, and I did get my score prediction. I get that. I'm gonna say a three tutty day for Brock Purdy through there.
Okay.
3 touchdowns for Purdy.
I like it. 3 touchdowns for Broccolus Purdy. I like it. I think that's a good bold prediction. My bold prediction, I already told you. I think Jake Moody's gonna hit the game-winning field goal. You can't get any more bold than that. 49ers going to get this dub. I hope so. I hope next week we're talking about, 49ers, how great that win over the Eagles was and going into the next week. So I got Bash real quick before we go. I'm going to give you the mic because you got something to say here real quick. So go ahead, take the floor, my boy.
Yeah, thank you, Raj. Appreciate it, man. And again, shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome. And I put this up on my community tab on my YouTube channel. If you guys didn't see it, it's okay. And I also put it up on my Facebook page if you guys follow me on Facebook. A fellow one of our great chatters, and he actually runs a YouTube channel as well. He does like the picks on Thursday nights on his channel. He does picks for the whole league wide, and he's a big Niner fan and big supporter of the 49er YouTube community. And he's a part of the community. He's also a big supporter. He's just awesome, great, big-hearted dude, and he needs all your prayers and support right now. He's been in the hospital this week. He's battling cancer, so things haven't been looking good the past couple of days. And I've been praying. All my friends are praying. We're all concerned, texting each other, and just give your prayers for Corey Davis. He needs it. Needs all the prayers that you guys can give. Give him all the love you can give, and he deserves it more so than anybody. He has a huge heart and a very loving, compassionate person, and he loves the 49ers. So shout out to you, Corey. We love you, man. Hopefully we see you back soon.
Yeah, love you, Corey. Prayers up. Hopefully you land on your feet. Let's hope the Niners get this dub for you, man. Good stuff. And yeah, prayers up to you, Corey. Hopefully everything's getting better. And yeah, Bash, anything else you have to say for the night?
Yeah, man, let's get that dub for Corey and the Niners and Niner Empire. Let's do this, man. Go Niners. Beat Philly.
Right. Appreciate you. Young CJ says, shout out to you guys. This is more entertainment than watching Skip Bayless, boring topics every day. I appreciate it. Yo, shout out to the chat. I love you guys. You know how we do it. We always try to keep you guys entertained. I love you. Have a good rest of your night. Have a good Saturday. Get some rest, ladies and gentlemen, because Sunday you're about to watch a great, long, awesome movie, and I can't wait. You guys have a good rest of your night. Let's go Niners. Let's get that dub, and bang, bang.
Niner gang.
Thanks for hopping in, Bash. Let's go.
Yeah.